Hi there, my name's Amy Jane, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the commandments and their connection to the Hebrew alphabet, or the first 10 of them, should I say at least. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen, and bear with me because some of this stuff does take time for me to transfer over. Okay, so I may also take off my video box throughout the study because sometimes it gets in my way. And so here we go. Change. Okay, so on the screen it says his Aleph, Tav, and commands, and then we have Chadash-Bryt, I think it is. Hold on a minute, I may have that wrong. Chadash-Bryt is the pronunciation for this word here. Chadash-Bryt. So this is the pictograph form. Then we have the paleo form. And then we have the modern form here. So Ayin, Shin, Resh, Tav. Then Hey, Dalet, Yod, Beit, Resh, Vav, Tav. Or Uau, Tav. In the paleo, we have Ayin, Shin, Resh, Tav. Hey, Dalet, Yod, Beit, Resh, Vav, or Wow, Tav. Same here. Ayin, Shin, Resh, Tav. Hey, Dalet, Yod, Beit, Resh, Vav, or Wow, Tav. Paleo Ibrit or Ivrit, Aleph Tav script used at Mount Sinai, and the two tablets, his Torah commands written with such below. With Yahweh's own finger, there is a known older form called ancient pictograph, Ivrit, Ibrit to some, in which, depending on how you pronounce the Hebrew, in which evidence has been found as being an older, more ancient form. It's easier to read and understand, and even children can read such. Our brains are also more observant of visual pictures and are pictographic in search for concrete active form language that speaks for itself. So it's similar to when our minds and hearts have been transformed from within, outwardly we are transformed also. So let's take a look at each living letter, start to finish, because it has a specific command and statute with it. So here we have the Aleph, here in the paleo, sorry, the pictograph, then the paleo, then the modern, and for time's sake, and that I don't have to mark all the way through, we're going to be reading from the right to the left, starting with the paleo, sorry, the pictographic form, the paleo form, and then the modern form is in the red. So the pictographic is in the blue, and the paleo will always be in the green, and the modern will always be in the red. So we have the first command. We have the Aleph, which is an ox head and a staff or a rod, and a picture of a mouth for the whole word Aleph, Lamed, Pei. I am Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, Egypt, out of the house of slavery. This is in Shemot, Exodus 20, verse 2. 2, or Beit, or Bait, is a picture of a house, an arm, a house or a temple, an arm, and a mark, covenant, or signature. The Beit is written with the Beit Yod Tav, or Tau, depending on how you pronounce it. You have no other mighty ones against my face. You do not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of that which is in the heavens above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You do not bow down to them nor serve them, for I, Yahweh, your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the crookedness of the fathers on the children to the 3rd and 4th generations of those who hate me, but showing kindness to thousands, to those who love me and guard my commands. Shemot, Exodus 20, verse 3 to 6. Here we have the Gimel. And let me just bring that down because I want focus to be on one instead of too many. Okay. So there we go. So we have the Gimel, or Gimal. This is Gimel Yod Mem Lamed. Gimel Yod Mem Lamed. It's 4 letters, 4-letter root word. The actual letter itself. It's a picture of a camel, or a foot, or a leg, and then it's an arm. Mem, sorry, Yod is the arm, Mem is the water and the blood, or oil, or any form of liquid, and we have the Lamed, the staff, and the rod. It means messenger and also represents his Ruach HaKodesh. You do not bring the name of your Elohim to naught, for Yahweh does not leave the one unpunished who brings his name to naught. So next we will go on to the 4. And this is the number 4 is Dalet. It's a picture of, these are the first letters here. We have the Dalet in the free forms here. Going across, you'll see it once my bar moves out of the way. And this is the 4 forms, again, pictograph, paleo, and modern in the red, blue, green, red. Dalet is a picture of a door, and inside that letter, which is also a word, we have a door, a shepherd's staff, a goad, or a rod, and then we have a mark or signature or a covenant. And this number 4 is Commandment 4. Commandment Dalet is to the door. Very interesting, because this commandment is the Dalet and the door, and we know that Commandment 4 represents the Shabbat, the Sabbath. So we know the Sabbath is a door to his covenants, and we also know that Yahushua HaMashiach, our Messiah, is also a door to his covenant, to the covenant of Yahweh. And it's interesting because we see, remember, or Zakar ha-Shabbat, Yom in Hebrew. So it means, in English, it's remember the Sabbath day, to set it apart. For 6 days you labor and shall do all your work, but on the 7th day is a Shabbat of Yahweh your Elohim. You do not do any work, you nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the 7th day. Therefore Yahweh Baruch blessed the Shabbat Sabbath day and set it apart. Shamut 28-11, or Shamut Exodus, 8-11, 28-11. Very interesting that combines with the Dalet and number 4. And we know that the Shabbat is a door and a covenant. And we know that Yahushua HaMashiach is the covenant, and he is the door, and he is the Sabbath as well. So that's really cool to see. So here we have number 5. It's also a very interesting picture and amazing, actually. So we have the 3 forms again in blue, green, and red. Pictographic form in blue, paleo form in the green, and modern form in the red. So the hey, or the ha, pronounced hey, is man, male and female, with their arms raised in awe of, or in awe, or of, or in, or it can mean arms raised and revealed, in awe of, revealed breath, the ox head, or the strength, or the strong leader. So breath revealed in awe of strong leader who proclaims. So we see here an example, which is interesting, as we're going to see further on. This is the command to honor thy father and mother. And we know that the hay, the breath, and the strength of a house, and to be in awe and have revelation that you must be in awe of the strong leader, being the father and the mother of the house. Mainly, obviously, firstly the father, and then the mother is also a strong leader. She also has an ox. Here it says, respect your ab, father, and your am, mother. And we see that both of them have an ox head in their title. One is here, the ab, aleph, beit, and we see strong house, and that's what father means. And then here for mother, we have strong water, and we know that she is the deliverer of the children, and the strong water, that would make sense. And so here is very interesting that we have this. And so Commandment 5, Commandment hey, respect your ab, father, and your am, or ima, mother, so that your days are prolonged upon the soil which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you. Shemut, Exodus 20, verse 12. The one with a, this is the only one, actually the only one command out of all of the commands that has a blessing and a curse. Also the image of Yahweh and his Shem, his name, in the Eretz. So this is interesting because the father and the mother are an image of Yahweh in the earth, and a lot of people miss this, and that's part of the problem today in the earth. Most those in authority have headship over the children instead of those who were given the authority, and now the land is extremely cursed due to these commands being took advantage of and basically ignored, should I say. They're not even being acknowledged, never mind took advantage of. So next we have number 6, the Vav, the Uau, and known to some, again, the blue, green, red, as I said before, is the pictographic, the paleo, and the modern forms, known as Vav in the modern. And the nail, it's a picture of a nail or a hook or a tent peg, and it's also a key. Then a second nail, hook, tent peg, or a key. So it's very interesting. So note that this is a representation of man also, the number 6. That's also very interesting, since these nails went into our Messiah. The nails, hooks, tent pegs, or keys, if you like, which were firmly put into Messiah, Mashiach, Yahusha, his hands, Yahusha's hands. We can also take a look at Yeshayahu, or Isaiah 22, to see the burden of this one's father's house removed from upon him. This command speaks of murder. You do not murder. How interesting is that? That the 6th command is related to man and the nail that went into our Messiah's hands, the Ben of Yahuwah, the Son of Yahuwah in the earth. So, again, this speaks of murder. You do not murder. Now, note, it doesn't say you do not kill. It says you do not murder. Shemut, Exodus 20, verse 13. Messiah spoke of this murderer. The beast is man. Which one are you? It says the beast is a man. I mean, we all have the ability to be this kind of individual, for sure. I know from my own life, and anyone who thinks he's free from this has no idea what he's talking about, truly, because we all became them nails driven in our Messiah's hands, and we all have fallen short. So remember Zakar, the 2 on each side of him, his right and his left. Again, which man are you? The one who is humble, or the one who is proud and arrogant? The one who is repentant and the one who is not. So Zakar Yahuwah, Zachariah, remember Yahweh, that is what Zachariah means. Zachariah means remember Yahweh. And we know even Zachariah, who was Elizabeth's husband, pregnant with John, Yochanan, the Amasa, his name was Zachariah, remember Yahweh, and he was called to name his son Yochanan, and lost his speech until the day of his son's birth. So remember Zakar, Yahusha raised the bar and said, even if you think it, here we go. So if any of you have thought it, you've already done it in your heart. And I know that not one person on this planet has not thought this kind of a thought. And if they say they have not, I would suggest they were lying. You know, many children at youth even get these thoughts when they're very young. And we look at the world today and we see a murdering generation, because the mind is the heart also in Hebrew, and it represents his garden. And I've put a note here, arise, O sleepers. So Zayin is the next 7th commandment and the 7th Hebrew letter. It's a picture of a sword or a mattock or a plowing tool, a picture of an arm or a hand or work or action, sorry. Then we have a seed or continual life or flow. Beat your swords into plowshares, and there will be a time to beat them back into swords. The mouth of his word, speech. This is also your sword and also your plowshare. We are to plow with our mouth. We are to use the mouth as a sword also. So there'll be times when we break up the fallow ground and plow with our mouths in people's lives and hearts. And there'll be a time when we need to use a sword. And that's what is being told to us here in beat them back into swords. The mouth of his word is speech. Plowshare. The plowshare, sorry, that was an error. Plowshare, to break up the fallow ground of men, women, children, and children's hearts. A lot of work and not enough workers. It is also and mainly a sword and a motic. Sword or motic that works continual life is related to a union, and in the uniting of a male zakah and female nakabah, representing his name and not committing adultery. Yes, the name Yahweh is very much related to the covenant man, one man, echad, man, male and female, who make a one man standing together. They are not separated. They are echad, as Yahweh is echad. Working together in the building and sustaining of a house, the beit, especially the enhancing of Yahweh's kingdom here in the earth, to be a light to all. You do not commit adultery. Shemot, Exodus 20, verse 14. So I'm just going to move this over a little bit. Next one is the chet, or het is the way it's pronounced. Some people say chayet, depending on their pronunciation and how they are being taught, which is not something I'm going to be getting into. So here again, blue, green, red, pictographic, paleo, and modern form. Oh my God. Sorry, I just had a distraction there. Give me a moment. So the chet is a fence, a wall, and protection or single identity strand. This is a deep study for another time, which I am going to cut some of this out. Actually, maybe not. I may just share it anyway, because it is very interesting to say the least. So the identity strand here, which is commonly known as a DNA or Jacob's ladder. This is an arm that works, or mark of the covenant signature. It's a DNA wall, fence, one that protects. And it's an arm, which means to work the covenant, protected works of the covenant, including thoughts and speech. I've just got a quick note here, because there is something interesting out there that people should consider and pray about fervently. And it's the DNA strand was never a twisted stairway like the Tower of Babel. It looks very similar to the Tower of Babel. This twisted shape is possibly related to the twisted eye or the twisted ayin, a letter called Ra. Ra. That's how it's pronounced. Ra doesn't sound nice at all. So you can take a look for yourselves for this and do some studying. Does it look like anything we are shown in today's science? This one here. It does to me. Just something to consider and take to our Abba in prayer. It reminds me of the double helix. As we're taught in our science and school curriculum today, it may be something to question. The Ivrit Hebrew living letter 8 is this chet of the 22 Aleph Tav. It is a picture of a fence, a wall, a ladder. The subject I just discussed is quite controversial, so it's not something I will be doing any more on. It's just, again, something to consider for personal prayer. So the living letter 8 is this het or wall or fence, the 22 Aleph Tav. It is a picture of a fence, a wall, and the ladder. Through fervent prayer and seeking, I have come to believe, in my view, that this Ivrit living letter is possibly a picture of a DNA strand. The original, no coincidence either, that in the modern Ivrit, they declare this letter as sin. They declare the letter het as sin. I'm still not getting why. So if anyone has any insight on that, then please give me an email at paradiseisrael22 at outlook. Sorry, Paradise Israel lowercase 22 at outlook.com. Please don't send me any nonsense, or I will or any argumentative, contentious, or bad slander, or I will simply ignore you and resist you. Resist the devil, resist Hashatan, and he shall flee. Anyway, so the DNA strand, the original, no coincidence either, that in the modern Ivrit they declare this living letter as sin. But how? This is also the first living letter in Hawa's title, which is the real name for Eve, who we know as Eve. So is Eve the sin? I mean, I don't know. What do you people out there think? That it could be something to take deeply, as I've said. This is the name of the wife mentioned in Bereshit, Genesis 2. She is called Hawa. She is the Asha or Isha, Asha, in Bereshit 2, Genesis 2. This again is worth prayer and deeper studies. So what about the twisted double helix serpent could be, and the Kundalini fire serpent? Interesting again. These who steal, kill, and destroy, firstly, they desire your being on a cellular DNA level. Remember the water and the blood marked in the covenant mentioned earlier for the living word, truth, emit, and worship. This was in my previous video before this one. And your heart and mind, how a man thinks he is. Remember the living word for Ruach, which is breath and worship. There is a connection here. There is, or was. Anyone who's watching this bit, I would suggest for adults to observe and take this section out. That is quite an adult teaching. Oh, let me just go back because I finished that conclusion there. So, I mean, is there a coincidence? It's about the serpent that was lifted up onto the stick by Moses, and all had to look upon the stripes to be healed. Also Messiah, Yahushua, was lifted up, and by his stripes we were healed. So it was never a double helix or two. I mean, we see this in John 3:14, Yochanan 3:14, and as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the ben of Adam, son of man, be lifted up. Mashiach and his bride have always been one, echad, not two. So here we have again this commandment connected to the do not steal. Steal what though? I believe something to do with a family, because again, or someone's wife, or just in general, the whole thing is quite important, I believe. So, but as I said, that's just an opinion. That's not solid truth. So don't don't take my word from it, you know, just take it. It was just something that came up when I was doing my studies. So note, taking anything or anyone that doesn't belong to us without permission, especially dishonestly, wrongfully, or secretly, is stealing. even if we think nobody will care or nobody will notice, or if it's only worth a small amount. If it is not ours and we take it without permission, it is stealing. Ask first. Never use deceit or secrecy to obtain anything or anyone that is not rightfully yours. Tehillim, Psalm 24:1, the earth, Eretz, belongs to Yahweh, and all that fills it, the world and those who dwell in it. Tehillim, Psalm 115, verse 16, the heavens are the heavens of Yahweh, but he has given the Eretz, earth, to the children of men, Benai Adam. All things belong to the Almighty Elohim, and he gives to whom he wills. Stealing is undoing what Yahweh has bestowed. It is going against his will. It is complete disregard for his hand in the lives of man. Just an interesting side note there. So here we have the Ivrit letter and command, number 9, which is tet. It's a picture of a basket with a serpent around a basket, which is also earth's 4 corners and seasons, to be, and also means to gather. It is then an arm, which means to work or works, and then we have the tav, tau, which is a mark of the covenant or signature. You do not bear false witness against your neighbor. Shemot 20, verse 16. Exodus 20:16. Now we have number 10, which is yod or yad, which is a picture of an arm, which means to work. And then we have a nail, which means to connect or to join. And then we have the dalet, which is a door. So the yod, vav, dalet, or yod, wow, dalet, yod. It's works connected to the door. That's what it means. Yahusha is the dalet, he is the door. And it belongs to him, and so be careful how we treat, let's be careful how we treat others, as when you do it to him. You do not covet your neighbor's house, you do not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, or whatever belongs to your neighbor. Shemot, Exodus 20, verse 17. So, another note here. Covet means to desire something or someone without regard for the rights of others. Covetous means eager to possess that to which one has no right. Anything that belongs to another person, we are not allowed to covet. If it is not ours, we cannot desire it. We cannot desire any object that another person owns, nor any person that is specifically in somebody else's life, like a spouse, relative, a close friend, etc. Covetousness means that we do not respect the rights of others. And this disregard, left unchecked, can lead to other actions such as stealing and adultery. This commandment is obeyed in our thoughts and attitudes more than in our actions. Yahweh requires righteousness from us, and righteousness cannot just be outward motions. It must be deep within us, in our inward parts. We cannot have fleshly ways such as jealousy, envy, and covetousness, or any selfish desires or lusts. I know for me that this one is I mean, it's huge. Anyone who believes that they get away with not having these problems in their mind, will, and emotions is, again, I believe, a liar. Because we are to renew our minds. We are transformed by the renewing of our minds, by the washing of his word. Tehillim, Psalm 37, 1-9. Do not fret because of evildoers. Do not be envious of the workers of unrighteousness, for they soon wither like the grass and fade like green plants. Trust in Yahweh and do good. Dwell in the earth and feed on steadfastness. And delight yourself in Yahweh and let him give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to Yahweh and trust in him, and he shall do it. And he shall bring forth your righteousness as the light and your right ruling as midday. Rest in Yahweh and wait patiently for him. Do not fret because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man doing wicked devices. Abstain from displeasure and forsake wrath. Do not fret also to do evil, for evildoers are cut off. But those who wait on Yahweh, they shall inherit the earth. It's very powerful. Here I have written up each of the letters. I think I did them 1-22, and yes, I have, I believe. Hopefully it's not just 1-10, but we will see now. So maybe just 1-10, I don't know. I can't remember. I did this write up quite a while ago and haven't had opportunity to upload the video just yet until now. So number 1 is the Aleph, which is also the number 1000. Then we have, this is here. Okay. Then we have the Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav or Wow, and Zayin. And then further on, we have the Tet, Yod. And I did do the rest of them. Hallelujah. And here we have the 11th letter, which is the Kaf, and also the number 20. Lamed, and also the number 30. Mem, and also the number 40. Nun, and the number 50. Samak is 60. And here is so we have the 13th letter, the 14th letter, the 15th letter. The 16th letter is the Ayin, and it's the number 70. 17th letter is the Pei or Fei, and it is the number 80. Then we have Tsadi, the 18th Ivrit letter, and this is number 90, Tsadi. Here we have the pictograph, the pictographic form, the paleo form, and the modern form. Here we have the Kuf, which is the 19th letter, 18th Tsadi, 19th Kuf. Then we have the Resh or Rish, and it's the 20th letter. Then we have the 21st letter, and that is the Rish is 200, and the Sheen is 300. And then last but not least, we have the 22nd Ivrit living letter, the Tu or the Tav or Tau, however you pronounce it. It's the equivalent of 400. So this is the conclusion of the Aleph Tau Living Word Ivrit Hebrew, well, the two-part section that I had, because I did a previous study before on YHWH, and then I have now gone on to this section here, and this is, so the first session is in a different upload, the one I uploaded before this, and the importance and what we really are declaring when we confess that we are a Hebrew or an Ivrit, where now we know this living word does not simply mean a language or just a culture, although it is a culture also, but instead has an absolute concrete meaning inside the living word itself, ultimately meaning crossover, renewed mind, thinking from an Eastern perspective the correct way instead of a Western or wild West perspective. And the conclusion of the first 10 dabarim, words or commands, and their connection to the first 10 living letters of the 22 Ivrit Hebrew Aleph Tav. So I would like to say Shalom, and here we have the Shalom going this way in Ivrit. Obviously this one is in English, and it goes that way, of course. And this is the free forms. This is the pictograph for Shalom, Paleo. And then we have the modern here. So I believe that is the end of my, well, this study anyway. And I would like to say thank you to you all for your support, and I pray that this has been a barakah to everybody. And so goodbye for now. Shalom.